The auctioneer's voice sliced through the dusty town square, sharp as a whip. The crowd shifted uneasily, their eyes darting toward the towering figure at the back, Malachi Brooks, a 6 feet 4 inches rancher with a scarred face and hands that had broken men twice his size. His cold, gray eyes silenced whispers, but today, something was different. An 8-year-old girl, Violet McCall, broke free from her captor's grip and ran straight toward him. The crowd froze as she wrapped her tiny arms around his waist, tears streaming down her face. "Grandpa," she whispered, though they had never met. Rufus Callahan, the child trafficker who had dragged Violet to this forsaken town, stepped forward, hand hovering over his gun. "She's mine until someone pays," he snarled, but his voice wavered under Malachi's unflinching stare. For 20 years, men had crossed the street to avoid the rancher. Stories of his exploits. Driving off 3 gangs, killing 13 men in fair fights, building his ranch on his enemies' bones, spread like wildfire. Yet Violet saw none of that darkness. "I knew you'd come," she said, pressing her face into his leather vest. "I dreamed of you every night in the wagon." Malachi's throat tightened. No one had shown him kindness since his wife, Martha, died 15 years ago, giving birth to their stillborn son. He had buried his heart with them, becoming the monster everyone feared. Now, this impossibly brave girl had chosen him. Ada Crow, the town seamstress, pushed through the crowd, suspicion burning in her eyes. "Malachi Brooks has no family," she declared. "What's your game, old man?" The accusation hung heavy, the crowd murmuring their distrust. They saw Malachi as a predator, like Callahan. Violet's small hand found his calloused one. "Tell them, Grandpa," she said with unwavering trust. "Tell them how you promised Mama you'd find me." Malachi's mind reeled. This child was living in a fantasy, mistaking him for someone else. Yet her desperate hope stirred something deep within him. Callahan stepped closer, patience thinning. "Pay up or step away from my merchandise." The word merchandise hit Malachi like a fist. He looked at Violet's bruised arms, her tiny frame seeking his protection, and something inside him shifted permanently. Callahan had 3 armed men, and the townsfolk would never trust Malachi's motives. The auction block loomed, waiting for the highest bidder to claim Violet's future. Malachi reached into his coat, the crowd tensing, expecting a gun. Instead, he pulled out a worn leather wallet. "How much?" he asked, voice steady as stone. Callahan's eyes gleamed. $500, he demanded, a sum most couldn't dream of. Malachi counted out the bills with precision and placed them in Callahan's hand. The trafficker bit each one, shocked they were genuine. "Pleasure doing business," Callahan sneered, but his confidence faltered when Malachi's hand clamped his wrist like iron. "If I see you in this territory again," Malachi said quietly, "they'll identify your body by your dental work." Callahan and his men backed away, cowed by the rancher's calm menace. Ada Crow wasn't satisfied. "You can't buy a child like livestock," she protested. "She needs proper Christian folk, not a hermit on a cursed ranch." The townsfolk agreed, judging Malachi's solitary life and violent reputation. Violet squeezed his hand. "The bad dreams stopped when I saw your face," she said softly. "Mama said you'd have kind eyes hidden behind scary ones." Her words chilled Malachi. His late wife, Martha, had said the same about his eyes when he still smiled, when hope lived in his heart. Sheriff Boone stepped forward, badge glinting in the sun. "We can't sell children like cattle," he said. "She needs a proper family through legal channels." Malachi knew what legal channels meant for orphans, institutions or exploitative adoptions. Callahan waved forged papers. "Her mother signed custody to me before she died. It's legal." Malachi recognized the forgery but knew challenging it would take months Violet didn't have. Violet's stomach growled, a stark reminder of her hunger. Malachi knelt to her level. "Are you hungry, little one?" She nodded. Haven't eaten since yesterday. From her tattered dress, she pulled a squashed biscuit wrapped in cloth. I saved this for you. The gesture shattered Malachi's defenses. This starving child had saved her only food for him. The crowd grew restless, some concerned for Violet, others feeding on drama. None had offered to help her, yet all judged Malachi unfit. Suddenly, 3 riders thundered into the square, led by Federal Marshal Kane. Rufus Callahan, Kane called, "You're under arrest for child trafficking across state lines." Callahan's face paled. "You've got the wrong man," he protested, but Kane's cold laugh cut him off. "We've tracked your operation for 6 months. Found graves of children who didn't survive your care." The crowd gasped. Ada pressed a hand to her mouth. Callahan's hand dropped to his gun, snarling, "The girl's mine until proven otherwise." Malachi stepped between them, Violet clutching his belt. "Nobody owns her," he said, his voice a deadly promise. Callahan's gun cleared leather, but he faced 4 barrels, Kane's, Boone's, and the deputies. "Drop it," Kane ordered. Callahan's men slipped into the crowd, abandoning him. Violet whispered urgently, pointing to an alley. "The bad man has friends hiding there with guns." Malachi spotted rifle barrels glinting in the shadows. Muzzle flashes erupted, and he dove behind a crate, shielding Violet as bullets splintered the ground. Kane and his deputies returned fire from behind their horses. Sheriff Boone crawled to them. "More riders are coming up the north road. Callahan's got an army." Violet's voice was eerily calm. "They want me alive, but they'll kill anyone protecting me." Malachi realized this wasn't just trafficking, it was something bigger. Violet pulled a train station locker key from her pocket. "Mama said this would explain why they want me." The numbers etched into the metal pointed to the Territorial Capital's depot. Callahan's voice rang out. "That girl's worth more than your careers combined." 15 armed riders crested the hill, moving with military precision. This was no random crime, it was a well-funded operation. Violet gripped Malachi's arm. "They're here to kill everyone who's seen me with you." The realization hit, they were eliminating witnesses. Sheriff Boone suggested the old copper mine behind the church, with tunnels leading to the canyon. It was their only escape, but the church was 50 yards across open ground under enemy fire. Kane offered to draw their fire, a suicide mission. Malachi countered, "I'll do it." "You know those tunnels. Get her out." Violet's trust held firm. "I only trust you, Grandpa." Before he could act, Violet whispered, "Mama said your real name isn't Malachi Brooks. You were someone important before." Her words struck deep. She said Colonel Mackenzie sends his regards. The name unlocked a buried past. Malachi had been a classified operative, the "ghost of Antietam Creek," who vanished after the war. Kane overheard, eyes wide. "You're him." Gunfire intensified. Violet added, "Mama said the locker proves you were right about the gold shipments. Someone betrayed the operation." Memories flooded back, stolen gold, ambushed units, Mackenzie's death. Smoke rose from burning buildings as the enemy tried to erase the town. Malachi saw their mistake, they'd left the church's northern approach lightly guarded. He stood, hands raised. "Callahan, I surrender. But first, you'll hear what's in that locker." Callahan emerged, gun-trained but curious. "It holds evidence of who stole the military gold 15 years ago," Malachi said. "High-ranking officials sold secrets to Confederate raiders." A rider spurred forward, removing his hat, General Morrison, a decorated war hero. "That evidence was destroyed," he snarled, revealing his guilt. Malachi pressed, "Mackenzie made copies. He knew someone would come for his family." Morrison's face twisted. "Mackenzie's wife and daughter died in a fire. No survivors. But Violet was Mackenzie's granddaughter, the last link to the truth." Morrison ordered, Kill them all. Burn this place to ashes. Malachi raised his hand in a military signal. Bugles sounded. Kane's federal troops had arrived, surrounding the town. Morrison's men froze, outnumbered. Kane arrested the general for treason. 3 hours later, Malachi opened the locker with Violet's key, finding documents proving Morrison's betrayal. Mackenzie had died protecting democracy. At sunset, Malachi knelt beside Violet. "Your mother was right about my eyes. Will you come home with me?" She hugged him tightly. "I knew you'd come, Grandpa." They rode to his ranch, where he showed her the nursery built for his lost child. "Will you teach me to ride and shoot?" she asked. He smiled, the first true smile in 15 years. "Everything I know about staying safe and strong." Outside, the wind carried hope. An orphan had found her grandfather, and a broken man had found redemption through love. The feared rancher was a protector once more, his heart rekindled by a child's trust.